session 6 of the priesthood of Jesus. And we saw last session how Jesus had been ministering as a great high priest, but there was no sacrifice as yet, and that's to come. Jesus is arrested, and in John's account, it's the night before the Passover, and that's very symbolic for John. When he's being questioned by the whole Sanhedrin, he was asked whether he was the Messiah, and he made no answer. And so Caiaphas, the high priest, invoked something which was called the voice of swearing. It's nothing to do with bad language, it was to do with an oath. And this is a law by which a person must answer. If the high priest invoked that, the person had to answer. And so Jesus had to give an answer, otherwise he would have broken the law. And of course then, once he broke the law, he's a sinner. So he answered, and Caiaphas said, "Are you the Messiah, the Son of God?" And he answered, "You have said so." But then he added something that made Caiaphas furious. "From now on, you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the Mighty One and coming on the clouds of heaven." Now Caiaphas wasn't a legitimate high priest, but he was a well-trained rabbi, and he knew that Jesus was referring to Psalm 110. "Sit at my right hand until your enemies are a footstool for your feet." And then a bit further on, "For you are a priest forever in the order of Melchizedek." Caiaphas was so horrified at what he thought was blasphemy that he grabbed the neck of the robe and he ripped it. Now you may remember when we were talking about the high priest's garments, the neck of the robe was fortified so that it would not tear, because we're told in Exodus that if the priest tore his garment, he would die. Well, Caiaphas didn't drop dead, but what he did was he negated being high priest. As soon as he tore that robe, he was no longer high priest. What this meant was the next day there would be no legitimate high priest to supervise the sacrifices. And in John's account, the next day is Passover. The Passover lambs were to be sacrificed. But John sees that there is no need for a high priest. There is no need for these Passover lambs because the true Lamb of God, the true Passover lamb, was about to be sacrificed. Now, one of the daily duties of a high priest was to supervise the morning and evening sacrifices. The morning sacrifice was 9 a.m, the evening one was 3 p.m. And apparently between the two sacrifices, he had to remain standing. And when the evening sacrifice was complete, he'd raise his hands to heaven and say, "It is finished." And then he was allowed to sit down. Jesus was crucified at 9 a.m, the time of the morning sacrifice. He died at 3 p.m, the time of the evening sacrifice. And his last words on the cross, "It is finished." As he died, the curtain which blocked off the Holy of Holies was ripped from top to bottom. It was a huge curtain. It was far too thick for any person to do it, and going from top to bottom, God just ripped open that curtain to the Holy of Holies. Our great high priest had opened up the presence of God to all who have him as their intermediary. And there's an interesting little fact or verse in Hebrews 8:1, which talks of Jesus, our great high priest, who sat down at the right hand of the Father. Now remember how the high priest only sat down after the evening sacrifice and after he'd said the words, "It is finished." The final sacrifice has been made and never needs to be repeated.